Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivashadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Sri Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagwan ki Jai. Sri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki Jai. Sri Shri Gauranitai ki Jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Sri Caitanya Caritamrta ki Jai. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Nittai Gaura Premanande. Hare Krishna. Just want to take this opportunity to thank all the devotees, sponsors who help us organize this beautiful anniversary festival of their Lordship Sri Shri Radha Gopinath. Like, it was a wonderful festival. I received many messages actually appreciating about Nrsingadev drama. It was a beautiful drama. I was getting goosebumps when I was watching Nrsingadev coming out. Adivas ceremony and Narsinga Yagya performed by Suchari Gaura Prabhu. That was very beautiful. We had 24-hour kirtan by our ever-growing team of kirtanyas, and we had few classes given by His Holiness Devamrit Swami Maharaj. Beautiful Abhishek. Feast. So we carry a lot of these beautiful samskars for the rest of our lives. When you remember 50th anniversary, what do you think? I remember the decoration that comes first. Vrindavana Palli Mataji team, they did beautiful decoration, and the garlands team, they made beautiful flower dress. Even on the first day, they had a beautiful flower dress made with peacock feathers. Nrsingadev altar, done by our one and only Vishwakarma, Kirtan Rasa Prabhu. So everyone, when they come forward and they chip in their little service to the Supreme Lord, when all of them put together, they make it a beautiful offering. I remember in one class which I actually heard, one devotee was actually saying, Krishna likes to enjoy different offerings. And just like how in a bouquet of flowers you'll have flowers of different shapes, sizes, colors, fragrance. Similarly, Krishna also has got a range of devotees with so many different skills and so many different services he can actually accept from, and Krishna enjoys. Prabhupada would often say, variety is the mother of enjoyment. So just want to thank all these wonderful devotees who helped us organize this beautiful festival. Let's chant 3 Hare Krishna Mahamantra for everyone who contributed. Kitchen team, led by Sankirtan Narottam Prabhu and Prem Sagar Prabhu. Let's chant 3 Hare Krishna Mahamantra, praying to their Lordships, Shri Shri Radha Gopinath, Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani, Shri Shri Gauranitai, to bless each and every devotee who participated in this festival. Pranayar Diya Vacha, or even doing nothing. Everyone. May everyone be blessed. Let's chant 3 Hare Krishna Mahamantra for everyone who attended, as well as for all their family members. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Radha Gopinath's devotees ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Let's continue. Sri Caitanya Caritamrta. I think there was a little confusion, and I'm the culprit. I finished it, I think, till 99 verse, and I asked Shama Priya Mataji to give the class, and I had the page mark. Yesterday I had to do a homa in one devotee's home, so I got delayed, so I called Baba Prabhu, and I told him to have a look at the bookmark. He said 99, I said start from there again. So yesterday I think he ended up covering the same set of verses. Apologies. Wonderful. What verse did he cover till?
134.
Thank you. We'll do it right this time. So we are in the pastime of Bhagavan Acharya, who is introducing a Bengali poet to Swarup Damodara Goswami. And this Bengali poet has written a beautiful poem glorifying about Lord Jagannath, especially about pastimes of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Swarup Damodara Goswami, in order for any literature work to be presented to Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, glorifying him, first it needs to pass the test of Swarup Damodaras. So when this work of this Bengali poet was actually put forth to Swarup Damodara Goswami, he points out a few faults in it. And then this is in continuation of that. You have composed this introductory verse, this is 134. You have composed this introductory verse to your great satisfaction, but the meaning you have expressed is contaminated by offenses to both Lord Jagannath and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You have written something irregular, not knowing the regulative principles, but the goddess of learning Saraswati has used your words to offer her prayers to the Supreme Lord. And you will find this in many instances, and you will see this famous verse, Vachalam Balisham Stabdam, famous verse spoken by Indra to chastise Krishna, Govardhandari, when he was lifting Govardhana hill. He uses very heavy words to address Krishna, but then Acharyas give a completely different meaning, converting those heavy words of chastisement to that of glorification. You will see similar approach that's actually given. Prabhupada highlights when Hiranyakashipu, when he chastises Prahlad Maharaj, offending him or blaspheming him rather by saying how impudent child he is. Does he think that he is more sense controlled to inform even his father about controlling the senses, so on and so forth. But then again, you will see Acharyas take a very similar approach to give a different meaning, again in glorification of the pure devotee. So here Swarup Damodara Goswami is saying that the goddess of learning, Saraswati, she has given a different meaning, even though there are some faults in his work. Goddess of Saraswati, she has used your words to offer her prayers to the Supreme Lord. Sometimes demons and even Lord Indra, this is Caitanya Caritamrta, Antya Lila, chapter 5, text 136. Sometimes demons and even Lord Indra, the king of heaven, chastised Krishna, but Mother Saraswati, taking advantage of their words, offered prayers to the Lord. Vachalam Balisham Stabdam Agyam Panditamaninam Krishnam Martyam Upashritya Gopame Chakrura Priyam. Lord Indra said, this Krishna, who is an ordinary human being, is talkative, childish, impudent and ignorant, although he thinks himself very learned. The cowherd men in Vrindavana have offended me by accepting him. This has not been greatly appreciated by me. This is Srimad Bhagavatam 10.25.5. Indra, the king of heaven, being too proud of his heavenly opulences, became like a madman. Thus, bereft of his intelligence, he could not restrain himself from speaking nonsensically about Krishna. Thus, Indra thought, I have properly chastised Krishna and defamed him. But Saraswati, the goddess of learning, took this opportunity to offer prayers to Krishna. Now you will see the actual meaning of these words that are used in glorification of Krishna. The word Vachala is used to refer to a person who can speak according to Vedic authority. But Indra is using in a different context, Vachalam being talkative. But here Acharyas give the commentary, Vachala refers to those who can speak with spiritual authority. And the word Balisha means innocent. Krishna spoke the Vedic knowledge, yet he always presents himself as a prideless, innocent boy. So this is the meaning Goddess Saraswati is giving. And likewise, when there is no one else to receive obeisances, one may be called Anamra, or one who offers obeisances to no one. This is the meaning of the word Stabda. And because no one is found to be more learned than Krishna, he may be called as Agnya, indicating that nothing is unknown to him. The word Panditamani can be used to indicate that Krishna is honored even by learned scholars. Nevertheless, because of affection for his devotees, Krishna appears like an ordinary human being and may therefore be called Martya. The demon Jarasandha chastised Krishna, saying, "You are the lowest of human beings, I shall not fight with you, for you killed your own relatives." Mother Saraswati takes Purushadama to mean Purushottama. So he is using the word Purushadama. Adama means lowest, Purusha means among men, among the Purushas. So instead of Purushadama, he is or she is taking the word to mean Purushottama, he to whom all men are subordinate. So in this way, every word that is being used to chastise Krishna, this is Jarasandha chastising, but Goddess Saraswati, she inspires Acharyas to give a different meaning in glorification, same words, but used in glorification of the Lord. Likewise, Shishupal also blasphemed Krishna in this way, but the goddess of learning Saraswati offered her prayers to Krishna even by his words. In that way, although your verse is blasphemous, according to your meaning, Mother Saraswati has taken advantage of it to offer prayers to the Lord. What it means is, in Krishna consciousness, we need to do whatever we can based on our capacity, and we don't need to wait for perfection. And whenever we embark upon a sincere attempt to serve Krishna, Krishna will send help. And whatever we lack, he will carry also. Ananyas chintayantamam yejana paripashate tesham nityabhiktanam yogakshema vahamyaham. To those who are constantly devoted to worshipping me, I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. So whatever we can offer, we should offer to Krishna. And if there is something lacking in that, we shouldn't bother so much. Why? Krishna will make up for whatever that's lacking. And that includes everything. Sadhana, sometimes we may chanting inattentively, but we still muster whatever strength we have, whatever energy we have, we still try. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, offensive chanting is much better than no chanting at all. So we should never think, let perfection come at some time. Let me chant when I feel like. Let me chant when I rest enough for today so I can chant tomorrow. None of that works. It's a commitment we make to the Supreme Lord. And no matter how we feel, we are still going to fulfill to the best of our ability, because no 2 days are same anyway. And there is no guarantee what will happen tomorrow. So we should do it with whatever sincerity we can have, whatever energy we have, whatever enthusiasm we have, we do. But then after we do, then we pray to Krishna. Krishna, please forgive my offenses in the execution of this service. Please give me intelligence so I can better this service. And Krishna will give intelligence. And likewise, Krishna Bhakt Prabhu, he organized a beautiful drama. And if you look at the original characters who were casted for each of those different personalities, from the original list to the ones who performed, there's quite a difference. Some devotees couldn't come. There will always be last minute challenges. Still, you take the sincere attempt, next step forward, still you will see Krishna reciprocating with us. But if we wait, not even making our attempt, telling Krishna, Krishna, first you assure, then I will do. Krishna will be, no, first you do, then I will assure you, then I will give you. No, Krishna, I can't do. Krishna is just like, no, I'm not bothered. Krishna will continue to play flute. He is not in need of anything. So if we need something, we need to take the first step forward. Whatever little we can do. Okay, and that can be chanting, that can be cleaning, that can be cooking. Any little service we do, we should try with all our sincerity. And then, wherever we lack, Krishna will carry what we lack. Krishna will fill the gap there. But if we don't even attempt, then we have a big problem. There are many instances of devotees who haven't performed the services which they have attempted. Still they pleased the Lord very much. Jatayu. When Ravana was kidnapping Mother Sita, Jatayu gave a very brave fight, and in the process he was very mortally wounded. Even though he didn't succeed in the mission of protecting Mother Sita, still Lord Ram was very pleased. And Ramayana mentions that he cremated Jatayu with the same level of respect as he did for Dasharath. So he's respecting Jatayu, who is mortally wounded, who didn't actually succeed in its mission. Still, Lord Ram accepts the service. Later on, you will see, when in the pastime of Lord Ram worshipping Shivalinga, at that time, Brahma comes as a Brahmana, and when the pastime is about to happen, or when the puja time is actually lapsing rather, Hanuman, he still hasn't returned. He was supposed to bring Shivaling. So then, because the Tithi is going to pass, Brahma insists, and then they make a Shivaling. Mother Sita makes one. Puja, everything finished, and then Hanumanji comes late. Have you got that experience? Sometimes during Guru Puja, just when you think you will offer incense, the vastra falls to the ground, and you will see some devotees running. Guru Nandana. Only aim is, they don't see anything. I want to get the next vastra to be offered to Srila Prabhupada. So and by the time you come, you will see some pujari had walked through the altar, through the side of the altar, and they came back with that, and you will see another new one being offered, and you come, what to do now? No, it still pleases the Supreme Lord. So Hanumanji, he comes later. Lord Ram, being the Supreme Lord, he wanted to please Hanumanji. He says like, that's fine, bring it, we'll do puja again. He does the puja again. So you will see many instances where Supreme Lord, he's not looking for perfection, but he's simply looking for an exchange of love. And no matter how poor we do, no matter how insignificant our offering is, he's still pleased with it. So here it's given in that way, although your verse is blasphemous according to your meaning, Mother Saraswati has taken advantage of it to offer prayers to the Lord. There is no difference between Lord Jagannatha and Krishna, but here Lord Jagannatha is fixed as the absolute person appearing in wood. Therefore, he does not move. Thus, Lord Jagannatha and Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, although appearing as two or one, because they both Krishna, who is one alone. The supreme desire is to deliver the entire world meets in the two of them, and for that reason also they are one and the same. To deliver all the materially contaminated people of the world, that same Krishna has descended in the moving form of Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. By visiting Lord Jagannatha, one is freed from material existence, but not all men of all countries can come or be admitted here in Jagannath Puri. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, however, moves from one country to another personally or by his representative. Thus, he as the moving Brahman delivers all the people of the world. So basically the point he is mentioning is, Jagannath is there in Puri as Parabrahman. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also Parabrahman, but he is moving everywhere. That's the difference. Studying Shastras, we have to be very careful, because it's very easy to lose the meaning. In fact, the whole Mayavada philosophy, I was talking to a devotee, I think Ravi Prabhu. There is a pastime of Madhavacharya. Once Madhavacharya's guru was approached by a Buddhist monk, and he says, I want to have tarka. Tarka means a debate with you. Then his guru says, wait, my disciple Madhava will come soon, you can have the debate with him. So then Madhava comes. Then he tells to the Buddhist monk, he greets him and he says, all right, let's have the debate. And the Buddhist monk says, all right, let's start. Then Madhavacharya asks him, I will use Aitareya Upanishad. Of 108, Aitareya Upanishad is considered the most favorite of Madhavacharya. He has written commentary on that. So he tells to him that I will base all my arguments on this. What is going to be your Shastra? Then the Buddhist monk says, for me, I have no Shastra. I'll just talk. Then Madhavacharya tells him, nothing doing. It doesn't work like that. If there is no common basis in which we are actually having our arguments based upon, then we can keep on talking without any conclusion. Like the chicken and egg. Which one came first? So then Madhavacharya says, to make the best use of your time and mine, I am putting forth my Shastra, you take it home, you go home, and you bring your Shastra and we can base our arguments. Then Buddhist monk says, sure, and he goes, he never comes back next day. So, but if you take a Mayavadi philosophy, they will still use Vedanta. In fact, they will still take Bhagavad Gita, but they will misquote, misinterpret. So, here is an instance, in the case of Buddhist monk, there is no Shastra at all, but if you take Mayavad philosophy, there is actually Shastra, but they misinterpret differently. Prabhupada says, that's why even studying Srimad Bhagavatam and Shastras, we should do in the association of devotees. Like Chanakya Pandit says, when you do austerity, you need to do alone. When you are studying Shastras, you need to do in pairs, 2. When you do Kirtan, you need to do in 3s. When you travel, you have to do in 4s. Why 4? If 3 people there, 2 people gang up, they'll kill the third guy very easily. 4 means, usually if one guy supports one, the other one will support the other. Little safe. But studying Shastras has to be done as a group exercise. Otherwise, Prabhupada says, if you don't study Shastras in the association of devotees, you will, even after reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada is saying, you will come to the impersonalist conclusion. So, we have to be very, very careful when we study Shastras. And when we study Shastras, our attention to the detail, Prabhupada says, we need to cram these purports. Cramming means, you need to literally, Prabhupada says, I want all my disciples to know, which includes all of us, we are all his Siksha disciples. I want all my disciples to be able to quote Shastri quotes just like how a lawyer would quote a law point. And many times, even as we actually study, it's very easy for us to assume. Like I'll say something that's in the verse of Caitanya Narasimha Leela we recently saw. In Srimad Bhagavatam, one of the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj to Narasimha Dev is, Prahlad Maharaj says, my Lord, by one single act, you had killed the demon, which is my father, and have also fulfilled the promise of my devotee. First half is easy to understand, which is, you have killed my father, fine, in one stroke. When I say the second half, you simultaneously, simply by one single act, you killed the demon, but you also have fulfilled the promise of your devotee. When I say the second half, fulfill the promise, what promise is Prahlad Maharaj talking about here? Okay. Appearance of the Lord in the pillar, I take it. Name Bhakta Pranashyati. Okay, I take that. To protect, okay. Generally, when you ask that question, that's the most common answer you will get, correct? Because Brahma gave him the boon, simply to fulfill the boon of Brahma, which is like the promise. Supreme Lord came in half man, half lion, and didn't use any weapons.
It's also because Prahlad Maharaj said that Narasimha is inside the pillar.
Correct. All of that are our interpretations. Same pastime. But you see how many answers we are getting. But listen to what Prabhupada is writing here. Prabhupada is saying, when Kayadu, when she conceived Prahlad Maharaj, and she is still carrying, and at that time Hiranyakashipu goes to forest to do tapasya. At that time, we know this pastime. Indra coming to arrest, Narada Muni is actually protecting Kayadu. Indra, after knowing that Kayadu who is mother of Prahlada Maharaj, is carrying a pure devotee in her home, he circumambulates, pays his respects, and he goes to his abode. Narada Muni takes Kayadu to his ashram. Now Kayadu is still her husband. He is away. Nobody knows when he will come. And true to her fear, he actually comes back after 35,000 years. That's how long he does tapasya. So feeling very fearful, she knows that her son is in the hit list of the demigods, number 1. Now she is having panic attack and she is feeling so fearful. Narada Muni, he protects. Narada Muni tells her, don't worry, you will be protected. And then she puts forth her request to Narada Muni, my lord, my concern is not about me, about my baby. Narada Muni says, your son will be protected. Prahlada Maharaj, when he talks about you simultaneously killed the demon in one stroke and you fulfilled the promise of your pure devotee, he is talking about Narada Muni. This is the last thing we would interpret. But Prabhupada gives that alone as the meaning. So, studying Shastras, we have to be careful. How did Hiranyakashipu break the pillar? Trivia. Okay. Any other guess? If you read Bhagavatam, Bhagavatam says just with this fist he just hit and it opened. That's how powerful he was. But normally, because we see in TV drama, sometimes he uses sword, sometimes he uses mace. Maybe it's in different kalpa, but according to Bhagavatam, Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, who is the eldest? Because Bhagavatam says Hiranyaksha's pastime first. Actually, Hiranyakashipu is first. Hiranyakashipu is the elder. Bhagavatam itself says that. We will miss the details very, very, very easily. Influence of Mahabharat. Like that, we see many TV serials and we come to the wrong conclusion. Take that as authority and we understand it wrongly. Hiranyakashipu is the elder. But Bhagavatam, it is not written in chronological order. It talks about Varahadev pastime first. So it's in 3rd canto itself. Hiranyakashipu we see in 7th canto. But generally, we conclude it wrongly. So when we study Shastras, we have to be very, very careful. It's very easy to, even when you read Bhaktivedanta purports of Srila Prabhupada, it's very, very easy to understand the things wrongly. So we have to be, when we study, we need to focus on the meaning. When we study Shastras, when we don't know, we need to ask devotees questions. We can have discussion, Satatam Kirtayantomam. So, Tushyanticha, Ramanticha, Krishna speaks, he has so much expectations on us that we'll be discussing about him. What did we discuss? Come on. I don't know, Prabhu. That's even a bigger problem if we don't know what we are talking. So, we have to be very, very careful when we study. I was asking this question in a class. Who is elder? Hiranyaksha or Hiranyakashipu? Some said Hiranyaksha, some said Hiranyakashipu. One hand went up. Who is Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu? Wrong question. So, when we study Shastras, we need to be very, very careful that we don't skip the detail. And it's very, very easy. Vrindaya Tulasi Devyaya Priyaya Kesavasecha. It's Vrindaya Tulasi Devyai. It's not Vrindaya Tulasi Devyayai. We look at it, we read it wrongly. And we are very proud also of that. So if you focus on each one of that, we will understand there are so many mistakes we do in our day-to-day life. From day one, we have been doing it wrong. Okay, so studying, we need to, Prabhupada says, complacency should not be there in our practice of Krishna consciousness. Because when we practice Krishna consciousness with a certain level of sincerity, Krishna gives us empowerment. Krishna gives us empowerment, expecting us to use that empowerment in his service. But then normally when that empowerment comes, we tend to slack that looks like I have progressed. So, let me take another shot at Maya. Now, then that empowerment becomes detrimental. So now what will Krishna do? Krishna will see, this is not going to actually help this devotee. This empowerment is taking the devotee away from me. So Krishna will freeze it. and then it will be gone. So we have to be very, very careful. Caitanya Caritamrta Prabhu gives this example of a cricketer losing form. Cricketer gets out first time, second time, third time, golden duck. And then the cricketer thinks, I am the same batsman. It's the same bat. It's the same bowler. I have hit many sixes in the past, maybe even 6 sixes in an over. But what is happening now? Empowerment is gone. So we should never feel proud of what Krishna gives. We should feel unqualified for what Krishna is giving us, but we need to, whatever Krishna gives, we need to try our hard to offer it back to him in the best possible way. Then Krishna feels pleased, then there will be more. There is that reciprocation. Prabhupada says this is exactly how Guru Kripa also works. Mercy of the Guru. Once when Prabhupada actually says, when one devotee is asking Prabhupada, Prabhupada, when you appreciate some devotees distributing more books, wouldn't that discourage others who didn't do? Good question, right? Listen to Prabhupada's reply. Prabhupada says that we are not a classless society. And Prabhupada said, look at Russia, look at communist countries, they try to create a classless society, but look at what happened. Even person who is doing work, they feel lazy because they are not getting the recognition for the work they are doing. So Prabhupada says, ISKCON is not a classless society. Prabhupada is saying, whoever does good service, I appreciate them. And then they do even better service. So we have to understand, even in bhakti, if you see, there is Kanishta, Madhyama, Uttama. Even if you take 9 stages of bhakti, different level. You take a chanting, 3 different levels given. So there is a clear pathway that is actually given, and there is a clear recognition for wherever we actually stand in this path of bhakti. You take a whole Siksha ceremony, there is a clear recognition for even somebody attempting to chant 1 round. Shraddhavan, that's the qualification. It's not a promise, you are trying to chant. Fine, you are recognized. And then you have 4 rounds. I always mix up. Second one, I don't know whether Sevak or Sadak. One of them. What is it? Sevak. So second is, 4 rounds is Krishna Sevak. Okay, somebody chanting 4 rounds, next recognition is given. Somebody chanting 8, Krishna Sadak. Like that. Prabhupada Ashraya, Sri Guru Charana. There is a step, clear step that's there. So in bhakti, there is a process, there is a path that's there. Each one of us, we are recognized for wherever we are. We are also given inspiration to take the next baby step forward. So Krishna is not looking for perfection from any one of us. In fact, only Krishna is perfect. Only Krishna doesn't do mistakes. When I read that, I felt so happy. Thank God. But Prabhupada says pure devotees are called Achyutatma. They also don't do any mistakes. I was sharing this few weeks ago, maybe a couple of weeks ago, about how one of Prabhupada's early disciples, Achyutananda Prabhu, he says in his memory that he has observed Prabhupada close from 65 all the way for 70 till 77, more than 12 years. And he says he has never made any mistake. And he said, we all were there around him, scrutinizing him. No, Prabhupada has never made mistake. There's one instance actually that's given when Prabhupada was in a program in India. During the class, not really a class, it's like a room conversation. Somebody is giving Prabhupada orange. So Prabhupada is taking the orange without actually touching it. And then he is flicking in his mouth. And as Prabhupada is chewing, he is separating the seed away. And the bin is there. Prabhupada was spitting it. False. Second one. False. Third one. False. One devotee is saying, simply by looking at Prabhupada spitting, he took up Krishna consciousness. Only Prabhupada can do that. By spitting, he can make devotee, So everything Prabhupada did was in a very regal, aristocratic style. Perfect. He takes the cup of water and he will drink without even 1 drop spilling. And Prabhupada is making puri, he is teaching devotees. And they made, no matter how hard they try, it's not coming. Prabhupada says, the reason why you are not getting proper puri puffed up is because of the way how you made the dough. and Prabhupada adds some more raw, and he mixes it. And then Prabhupada, as he is doing this, Prabhupada is actually teaching the other disciple. You see here, your earlobe, how you feel, this is how the dough should be. Feel it? And the devotee is touching. Yes, Prabhupada. And then Prabhupada rolls, and he says, put it. And then they put it. Still it's not buffing up. Prabhupada looked at him, smiled, and with this one finger he just like tapped on it. It just came up. Next one also they do. Prabhupada just taps on it, puffs up again, takes out. Then Prabhupada tells the disciple, you try it. He puts it. Instead of tapping, he ends up poking it. And then he says, this is an art which only Prabhupada seemed to know. And with everything, even when Prabhupada makes rasagulla, you will see. In one instance, Prabhupada is actually teaching, and all the devotees were there. Prabhupada makes rasagulla, and he does, and he chastises one disciple. You have already half eaten with your eyes. Prabhupada could see with the eyes how much lust is there even in the eyes. Simply to eat. So we have to be careful that studying Shastras, we study based on the purports with which Prabhupada gives. But then studying those purports also, we need guidance. We have courses, Bhakti Shastri, first batch of Bhakti Shastri completed. We'll be having a graduation ceremony soon, hopefully sometime in June. So we'll advertise that. You can come here and you can hear about experiences of different devotees, how they studied Shastras, what transformation is actually brought in them. I was speaking to some of them. Very interesting realizations devotees have. I had my own realizations when I studied Bhakti Shastri. So when we take up a serious study of Srila Prabhupada's books, you will see. It transforms our heart. It inspires us so much. But when you do that in the assembly, in the association of devotees, then you will see the effect of that actually multiplied many folds. Upon hearing this proper explanation by Swarup Damodar Goswami, Antilila 5:156. Upon hearing this proper explanation by Swarup Damodar Goswami, the Bengali poet fell down at the feet of all the devotees and took shelter of them with a straw in his mouth. Thereupon, all the devotees accepted his association. Explaining his humble behavior, they introduced him to Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. By the mercy of the devotees of Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, that poet from Bengal gave up all other activities and stayed with them at Jagannath Puri. Who can explain the mercy of the devotees of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu? Why is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepting him? Because Swarup Damodar Goswami accepted him. I have thus described the narration concerning Pradyumna Mishra and how, following the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he listened to the discourses about Krishna spoken by Ramananda Roy. Within the narration, I have explained the glorious characteristics of Sri Ramananda Roy, through whom Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally described the limits of ecstatic love for Krishna. In the course of the narration, I have also told about the drama by the poet from Bengal. Although he was ignorant, because of his faith and humility, he nevertheless obtained shelter at the lotus feet of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. My Guru Maharaj says in one class that whoever comes prays to Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda Prabhu. I was hearing this song, actually, I've heard it quite a lot of times, but it didn't, the meaning of that didn't sink in, at least a little bit of that until recently. You know this song, Bhaja Gaurango, Kaha Gaurango, Laha Gaurangera Namare, Jai Jana Gauranga Bhaje, Sehoy Amar Pranare. This is a song that's actually sung by Nityananda Prabhu. What he says is, Bhaja Gauranga, worship Gauranga, speak about Lord Gauranga, sing about Lord Gauranga. Whoever does this, whoever worships Chaitanya Mahaprabhu this way, by speaking about him, singing about him, worshipping him, Sehoy Amar Pranare, they become my life and soul. Poetically, it sounds very nice, but it occurred to me, the one who is singing this is not an ordinary mere mortal. Who is singing this? Lord Nityananda Prabhu. He is also Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he means every word of it. Whatever instructions Krishna gives, there is no terms and conditions apply. Every word we can take the literal meaning of it. This is the first instruction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, when he gives impersonal explanation, Mayavad explanation of Vedanta philosophy. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, the meaning of Vedanta itself is very clear. What is confusing is your explanation. Sometimes have you got that experience in Maha cleaning especially? Some place you think, I will clean it, especially let's say this fan. And you try scrubbing it with all good intention. But then halfway through you will realize you cannot undo it. There's no control button there. But then you will realize actually it's looking more bad now. Have you got that experience sometime? Mikey Prabhu, come on. All the time. So, Mayavad explanation of Vedanta philosophy is like that. They don't need to do anything. Bhagavatam itself is the natural commentary of Vedanta Sutra. Both are written by the same author. You don't need anything else. So, more they interpret, more it confuses them. So, here, so whatever instruction which Krishna gives, whatever instruction which Balaram gives, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives, Nityananda Prabhu gives, we can take it in a literal sense, absolute sense. Because they don't need to put terms and conditions apply. Why? They are unlimited. There is nothing that they can't do. Once a reporter asks Prabhupada this question, can Krishna lift a hill can Krishna create a hill which he himself cannot lift? How will we answer this question? If you say, yes, Krishna can create such a hill, then you will get challenged back saying, that means there is something which Krishna can't do, which means he can't lift. But if you say, no, Krishna can't create a hill which he himself can't lift, again you will get checkmated, because then it would mean that Krishna can't create such a hill. So the journalist thought, I have trapped Prabhupada now. But listen to what Prabhupada said. Prabhupada says, yes, Krishna can create such a hill which he himself can't lift, and he can also lift that. So, when we take the instructions of the Shastras, we take it in a literal sense. We don't need to interpret. Meaning is very straightforward. Prabhupada says, Manmana bhava madbhakto means, Madhyaji mam namaskuru. Mam means me, mine. So, Prabhupada says, it's mine means whoever is saying, you just accept it. Why do you have to interpret? So, here, Nityananda Prabhu is saying, whoever worships Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I take them as my heart and soul. This is Supreme Lord saying, Satya Sankalpa, which means, Satya Sankalpa means, whatever Supreme Lord says will become true. So when Nityananda Prabhu says, whoever worships Gauranga, Sahayo Amar Pranare means, they become my life and soul means, literally that's what it means. Now what really touched my heart is, how can you would come across, love stories in movies, even some folk tales you would come across. Listen or try to understand the extent of love of Nityananda Prabhu. He is not telling the whole world how much he loves Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because nobody can understand it anyway. But look at the extent of love of Nityananda Prabhu. He is saying, who is his beloved? His beloved is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is saying, you please worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then you become my heart and soul. Can you imagine the extent of love of Nityananda Prabhu? If you don't, think about it later. Took me some time. That's how much Nityananda Prabhu loves Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And when he says he feels any worshipper of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be his heart and soul, he actually means it. That's how he is feeling for them. But with that, you can actually understand, if somebody loves Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it's for their benefit, not for anyone else's benefit. But even for doing that, he is saying, they become my heart and soul. How can you love someone so much that anyone else who loves that person, they become your heart and soul. Impossible. Normal movie dialogue will be, you are my heart and soul, correct? You are my missing piece in the life. Whatever they say. Maximum. That too, there's no truth in it, correct? One guy will die at some point, correct? There's no guarantee there also. Lot of tragic love stories. But here, look at the extent of Nityananda Prabhu's love. He is loving Chaitanya Mahaprabhu so much that he is saying that whoever loves my beloved Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you become my heart and soul. That's how much he loves Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, but whoever asks Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, my Guru Maharaj says in the lecture that whatever anybody asks Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he will give, but we have to ask. Very important. If we don't ask, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu won't give, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mood is, this devotee is already doing good, why should I disturb? But whoever comes forward and asks for mercy, my Guru Maharaj says, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will give straight away. So here, Bengali poet, even though his work was filled with faults, still he took shelter of Swarup Damodar Goswami. And because of his humble attitude, he became the object of mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Within the narration, I have explained the glorious characteristics of Sri Ramananda Roy, through whom Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally described the limits of ecstatic love for Krishna. In the course of the narration, I have also told about the drama by the poet from Bengal. Although he was ignorant, because of his faith and humility, he nevertheless obtained shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The pastimes of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or the essence of nectar. From the stream of one of his pastimes flow hundreds and thousands of branches. Anyone who reads and hears these pastimes with faith and love can understand the truth about devotional service, devotees, and the transcendental mellows of the pastimes of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Shraddha kari ei lila ei pade shune gaura lila bhakti bhakta rasa tattva jane. Bhakti bhakta rasa tattva. Three things he says. Bhakti means devotional service, bhakta, devotee, rasa tattva, mellows of devotional service. So this chapter teaches all these three. Truth about devotional service, devotees, and transcendental mellows. Sri Rupa Raghunatha Padayarasha Caitanya Caritamrta Kahe Krishna Dasa, praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunatha, always desiring their mercy. I, Krishna Das, narrate Sri Caitanya Caritamrta, following in their footsteps. So this finishes chapter 5. Next chapter is about the meeting of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Raghunath Das Goswami. We'll stop here. Any questions? No questions today? No questions today, yes.
So probably you talked about the skills and how Krishna actually bestows skills to everyone. So then there are also a lot of materialistic and atheists who obtain skills and they really high. How can we justify that one of a devotee or Mishra Bhakti, who is also a devotee and he's not 100% sure, he's trying his best and his skills get
Skills is not a result of one's bhakti necessarily. Skill can be a result of one's karma. Have you seen some people, even materialistic people, they'll pick up any language. They'll learn any language like that. Some people may pick up any music instruments like that. Even karmis, I'm saying. So, for devotees, when they take shelter of Krishna, everything is offered to them by Krishna. Krishna can alter devotees' karma. Now, if you take non-devotees, whatever they have is just a result of their karma. Krishna won't intervene in that. But for devotees, Krishna will see if karma, the effect of this devotee's karma is going to do any good for his bhakti. Is it going to keep him happy or her happy? If Krishna is convinced, he will let it like that. Or another instance, Krishna may say, no, this is going to actually affect. Even though materially this devotee may actually be in a well-to-do position, still he is gonna go away from me. So Krishna may actually reduce one's opulence also, possible. Another instance, Krishna may consider that this devotee is already doing wonderful service. Let me empower him or her with more skills, more opulence, so they can improve their service. It all depends on, Prabhupada says, it all depends on the attitude of the worshipper. Our progress, our advancement, what facility we have, everything depends on what attitude we have. If our position is that, okay, if I train myself in Krishna consciousness in such a way that I am able to engage everything nicely in Krishna's service, then Krishna will give more if he likes. So we don't gauge the success of a devotee's life based on how rich they are. Definitely not. That's just result of karma. So just because somebody is a great advanced devotee doesn't necessarily mean they need to have a lot of money. So if somebody has a lot of money, doesn't mean that they are spiritually very advanced. One person goes to the temple and tells to Prabhupada, Swamiji, I heard you are raising funds. How much should I give? Prabhupada's response, yeah, what can you give? He has given you everything. So Krishna has given everything. So one's wealth, skills, opulence, beauty, manye dana bijana rupa tapashrita just teja prabhava bala paurusha buddhi yoga, 12 items Prahlad Maharaj lists. None of this, beauty, one's effulgence, education, sensory prowess, so on and so forth. None of this is a criteria for somebody practicing bhakti. What's the proof? He says, if any of this is a criteria, then Gajendra shouldn't have attained liberation. Correct? You know the elephant. It's just an elephant. Correct? It didn't have, it had intelligence, but not so much. No bodily effulgence, nothing. This is a male elephant playing with a female elephant. This is the qualification, nothing else. And he fought with the crocodile for 100 celestial years. That's all. And in a desperate mode, he just picked up on lotus, which is already lot in spiritual world anyway. Still he is offering. Vishnu is feeling very grateful and he comes. Have you seen anyone more grateful than Supreme Lord? So this is, okay, so one's opulence, beauty, any material qualification, none of that is a sign of advancement. It's just a sign of karma, that's all. But for devotees, whatever devotees actually go through, they are personally orchestrated by Krishna. In some instances, as I said, Krishna may let the karma take over our life. In some, which is conducive for our bhakti, Krishna will just leave it. In some instance, Krishna may alter it to reduce the opulence, reduce whatever facilities you may have. In some instance, he may increase also. It all depends on, there is even a story. Narada Muni once tells to Vishnu that there are two of your devotees I just saw in one village in Buloka, please bless them. One is a very old lady who is a widow, and there is another rich person, both of them good devotees. Then Vishnu says, sure, I'll do it. Then that old widow, she had one cow which she was milking, selling the milk, and that's how she was subsisting, whatever that came out of that. And this rich man, already he is very rich and he was giving everything in charity. So Vishnu blesses the rich man to get more rich. And to this old widow, she had one cow which is the source of her livelihood or livelihood. He liberated that cow. Narada Muni is like, my lord, now what will happen to that lady? This man already has a lot of wealth. Then Vishnu says, yes, that's why I gave him more wealth, because he know that already he has so much, I have given him more, so now he will grow more attached to me, because this is his service. Now as far as the old widow is concerned, her only means of income is that cow. Now I have taken the cow. Having nowhere else to go, she will now totally surrender. This will make her grow more attached to me. Understand? So how Vishnu thinks and how we think is completely different. Thank God we are not Krishna. Very difficult. Prabhupada says in one place. So Krishna's job sometimes is difficult. He stays there and people come and worship him in queue. First guy comes and tells, who's a rich man, my lord, I have a lot of wealth, please protect it. Then Krishna says, Tatastu, he goes. And right behind him one thief will come. Prabhupada says, my lord, the guy who went just before me, I want to steal his wealth, please bless me. Krishna will bless him also. And Prabhupada says, and Krishna has to bless both of them. You know? So Krishna's job is very difficult. Like that Prabhupada says. Okay? So we don't take any skills, anything as an indication of somebody's bhakti. Okay? It's just result of karma. But for devotees, it still has a hand of Krishna. It's not just raw karma like for non-devotees. Okay? Hare Krishna. Okay, we'll stop there. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagwan ki jai. Sri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki jai. Shri Shri Gauranitai ki jai. Sri Caitanya Caritamrta ki jai. Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Gopinath's devotees ki jai. Devotees in Mayapur TV, YouTube and Facebook ki jai. Jai Nitai Gaura Pramanande, Hari Hari Bo. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.